What if the car you trust most is already dying, and no one bothered to tell you? Some once popular brands are crashing hard, losing value, shutting down dealerships, and leaving loyal owners with regrets and worthless cars. In this video, we'll uncover 13 car brands on the brink of extinction and what owning one could silently cost you. It's not just about who's collapsing, it's how fast they're vanishing. So watch closely, especially the last few. One brand still feels safe, but that illusion is fading fast. Let's get started. Number 13, Chrysler. In 2005, this automaker sold over 600,000 vehicles in the US. By 2024, that number dropped below 125,000, a staggering 80% collapse over 2 decades. Today, Chrysler sells only one car to regular buyers, the Pacifica. The cheaper Voyager is fleet-only. The 300 sedan, once a bold statement, was discontinued in 2023. In early 2024, Chrysler sold just 95,270 units in the US, a 22.6% drop from the year before. The Pacifica, its main product, saw sales fall by 11%. The reason was stronger, newer, and more efficient minivans from Toyota and Kia. The Sienna and Carnival stole the spotlight as buyers walked away from Chrysler's aging lineup. The planned Airflow electric SUV was supposed to change things. Instead, Chrysler's parent company, Stellantis, pulled the plug in mid-2024. The project was scrapped due to rising costs, outdated styling, and a shrinking EV market. The company is in trouble too. In July 2024, it began reviewing its 14 brands. The goal was drop dead weight. That put Chrysler on the chopping block. CEO Carlos Tavares said some brands may not survive past 2026. Money problems are piling up. In April 2025, a Chrysler dealership in Maine defaulted on a $4.5 million loan. Another in Georgia shut down after a trade-in fraud scandal. Customers were left without their titles or cash. Chrysler hopes to bounce back with a refreshed Pacifica and a new midsize SUV in 2026. But time is short. Without fresh products and stronger sales, Chrysler risks being erased from US roads. If you're thinking of buying one, stop. Parts may dry up, resale value may tank, and service could vanish with the brand. Number 12, Pontiac. In 1968, Pontiac sold over 900,000 vehicles. By 2009, sales had plummeted to 178,300, a staggering 80% decline over 4 decades. In 2005, Pontiac's US sales peaked at approximately 438,106 units. The brand was synonymous with performance. Models like the GTO and Firebird Trans Am became cultural icons. However, the 1980s and 1990s saw a shift. Pontiac introduced models like the Aztek, which failed to resonate with consumers. Financial troubles also compounded the decline. The 2008 financial crisis dealt a significant blow to GM, leading to a $53 billion government bailout. As part of its restructuring efforts, GM decided to discontinue Pontiac, along with other brands like Saturn and Hummer. The last Pontiac vehicle, a white G6 sedan, rolled off the assembly line in January 2010. The aftermath was felt nationwide. Dealerships closed, leaving owners with vehicles that rapidly depreciated. Parts became harder to find, and resale values dropped sharply. Today, owning a Pontiac is a gamble. While some models are cherished by collectors, most have become financial liabilities. Insurance premiums can be higher, and maintenance costs are unpredictable. If you're considering purchasing a used Pontiac, think twice. The brand's legacy is undeniable, but its practical value has diminished. Once a quirky favorite, this next brand has tumbled off most Americans' shopping lists, despite bold attempts at a comeback. Number 11, Fiat. In 2024, Fiat sold only 1,528 vehicles nationwide. While this marks a 153% increase from the previous year, the numbers remain critically low. The introduction of the all-electric Fiat 500e aimed to rejuvenate the brand. Despite this effort, Fiat's U.S. market share remains negligible. Globally, Fiat sold over 1.2 million vehicles in 2024, making it Stellantis's top-selling brand. However, this represents an 11% decline from the previous year. Stellantis, Fiat's parent company, reported a 70% drop in net profits in 2024, amounting to $5.5 billion. The company's revenues fell by 17%, with North American sales declining by 25% in volume. Fiat's challenges are compounded by internal issues within Stellantis. The company faced criticism from Italian lawmakers over its strategic direction and financial performance. Concerns about job security and the future of local factories have been raised, leading to management changes and discussions about the company's trajectory. For buyers, Fiat comes with real risks. The brand has a long history of poor reliability. Many call it "fix it again, Tony," and not without reason. Dealerships are few, and some may close if sales stay this low. Parts could also take longer to find, and service might cost more. If you want peace of mind, Fiat may not be the car for you. Next up is a giant that once dominated, but is now facing significant challenges. Number 10, Nissan. Once a household name, this brand gave us legends like the GTR, the 240Z, and the Maxima. It was a king in the 90s and early 2000s, but now it's racing against time to survive. In 2024, U.S. sales hit 865,938. That sounds good until you look closer. Sales for the Maxima collapsed, down over 90%. Only 3,753 units were sold in the first half of 2022. The Altima is also fading. Global numbers weren't any better. The company expects to lose $5.3 billion, with $3.5 billion wiped from its U.S. operations alone. The failed merger with Honda in 2024 shook investors. It could have formed the world's third largest automaker, but the talks broke down when Honda pushed for control. Since then, the brand has scrambled for new allies, eyeing a deal with Foxconn. But nothing is signed. Its rivals are sprinting ahead. Toyota sold 2.33 million units in the U.S. in 2024. Kia crossed 796,000. Meanwhile, this brand is cutting 9,000 jobs and shutting down plants. 2 planned electric cars for the U.S. were canceled. No hybrids, no plug-in future, just falling behind. The cracks started years ago. In 2018, the company's powerful CEO, Carlos Ghosn, was arrested in Japan, charged with hiding millions in income and using company funds like a private bank. He later fled the country in a box. Since then, the brand has been in free fall. Scandal after scandal, CEO after CEO, and no clear way forward. Now, insiders are sounding the alarm. According to leaked reports, this automaker has just 12 to 14 months left before a total collapse, unless a miracle deal comes through. To prove it even more, it falls into the list of worst car brands you'll regret buying. Click the link above to see which others made the cut. Number 9, Infiniti. Once seen as a bold alternative to BMW and Lexus, this brand is now slipping from the spotlight. U.S. sales in 2024 fell to just 58,070 units, a 10% drop from the year before. Over the last decade, sales have dropped by nearly half. To stay afloat, the company is shutting down standalone showrooms. Many dealers are now combining Infiniti and Nissan under one roof. This change saves money, but it also signals a weaker future. Production cuts are already in motion. The QX50 and QX55 will stop rolling off the line by December 2025. Trade tariffs have frozen orders from Mexico, where some models were built. New models like the QX60 and QX65 are coming, but they're built for high-income buyers, not everyday drivers. Past scandals didn't help. In 2018, Infiniti faced backlash for inflating performance numbers on some models. Earlier, several recalls hit the brand over faulty airbags and power steering issues. One recall alone affected over 1.3 million vehicles. These problems cost millions in fines, repairs, and broke buyer trust. Nissan, the parent company, is backing the brand's shift. Their new plan focuses on high-margin luxury models to boost profit, but that means fewer affordable options and more risk for buyers. Next is a name you barely hear anymore, and that's not by accident. Let's check it out. Number 8. Mitsubishi. In 2024, the company sold 109,843 vehicles in the U.S., a decrease from previous years. In early 2025, Mitsubishi halted all vehicle deliveries to U.S. dealers due to a newly imposed tariff on imported cars by the U.S. government. This decision has left vehicles stranded at U.S. ports, awaiting clarity on trade policies. The company's lineup has also been shrinking. The Mirage, once a budget-friendly option, was discontinued due to low demand. Currently, Mitsubishi's U.S. offerings are limited to the Outlander, Outlander Sport, and Eclipse Cross. Despite a refreshed Outlander model, sales have not met expectations. Financially, Mitsubishi has faced significant challenges. The company has been affected by global economic downturns and internal issues. In 2016, Mitsubishi admitted to falsifying fuel economy data for over 600,000 vehicles sold in Japan. This scandal led to the resignation of President Tetsuro Aikawa and a significant drop in the company's stock value. The fuel economy scandal was not the first for Mitsubishi. In the early 2000s, the company was involved in a cover-up of vehicle defects, leading to recalls and legal actions. These repeated issues have damaged the brand's reputation and consumer trust. For buyers, this brand is a risk. Many owners have reported serious problems: transmission failure, weak AC, and bad suspension parts. Engines often struggle, and some won't even start right. Steering can pull, electrical faults are common, build quality is also a hit or miss. And don't expect new features. Mitsubishi hasn't led in tech for years. If you're hoping for a car that lasts and holds value, this one might drain your wallet instead. Next is a brand that drove off and never came back. Number 7. Suzuki. You won't find them at dealerships. You won't see new ads. Suzuki quietly left the US car market over a decade ago, and most people didn't even notice. In 2012, the company filed for bankruptcy in the US as car sales were falling. The models couldn't keep up. Meeting strict safety and emissions rules was too costly. Suzuki pulled the plug and walked away from American roads. Since then, it has focused only on motorcycles, ATVs, and boats in the US, but the issues went far beyond sales. Many critics said the cars just weren't exciting. They lacked power, comfort, and style. With no standout model, Suzuki couldn't compete with Toyota, Ford, or even Hyundai. And then came the scandals. In 2016, Suzuki admitted to using improper testing methods for fuel and emissions on 16 of its models. Over 2 million vehicles were involved. The company's president apologized, but the damage was done. Later, German officials opened a probe into Suzuki's use of possible defeat devices in diesel engines. These devices helped cars pass lab tests, but released high levels of pollution on the road. Stellantis, which made the engines for Suzuki's diesel models, was also under investigation. Models like the SX4 and Vitara were affected. Buyers in Europe now face possible recalls, expensive fixes, or even deregistration of their vehicles. Suzuki denied wrongdoing, but the fallout continues. So while the badge still lives on overseas, in the US, it's a name tied to weak sales, quiet exits, and shady emissions tricks. Let's now look into a brand that is shrinking in more ways than one. Number 6, Mini. The name is Mini, but the problems are anything but that. In 2012, the brand moved over 66,000 cars in the US. By 2024, that number had fallen to just 26,299. That's more than a 60% drop. Sales slid 21.5% in just the last year alone. The reason being, American drivers wanted size, big trucks, roomy SUVs, and third-row seats. Even Mini's larger countrymen can't compete in this market, and their compact charm doesn't hit like it used to. Electric cars were supposed to be a lifeline, but Mini's shift to EVs has hit a wall. The company planned a $750 million upgrade at its Oxford plant in the UK to build future electric models. That plan is now paused. Demand is down, costs are up, and Mini's future as a full EV brand by 2030 looks shaky. Scandals haven't helped either. In 2013, the brand made headlines with an ad claiming a Mini was horse meat powered, mocking a food crisis across Europe. Then came financial controversy. Mini was linked to the LCF mini bond scandal, where investors lost millions. Investigators found misleading financial claims tied to luxury car investments. Trust took a hit. Next, after decades of building sleek sedans and roaring coupes, this legendary brand is hitting the brakes hard. Number 5, Jaguar. In 2024, Jaguar announced it would stop selling nearly all of its current models in the US, including the XE, XF, F-Type, I-Pace, and E-Pace. Only the F-Pace remains for now. The brand is shifting focus to become a fully electric luxury automaker. A new 4-door electric GT will launch in late 2025. Jaguar claims it'll hit 430 miles of range and charge 200 miles in just 15 minutes. 2 more electric models are planned for 2026. Each will cost over $125,000. To match this new direction, Jaguar redesigned its logo and launched a bold campaign. The old Leaper was replaced by a plain circular J. The new slogan was Live Vivid. The marketing featured fashion models, flashy colors, and phrases like break molds and create exuberant. It backfired. Online backlash was swift. Critics called it woke, tone-deaf, and unfocused. Many loyal fans felt alienated. Even insiders at Jaguar criticized the change, saying the campaign focused more on style than the cars themselves. Meanwhile, Jaguar is scaling back dealerships across the US. A slimmer network is being implemented to match lower volume sales during the transition. This isn't the brand's first controversy. Jaguar has faced repeated criticism over quality issues, software bugs, and recalls. Many owners still remember the rising repair bills that came with ownership. Now, with all models discontinued and a full rebrand underway, Jaguar's identity is shifting. Service support and resale value are expected to take a hit during this uncertain transition. This reinvention could revive the brand or speed up its fade from American roads. The next brand is a classical example of power and prestige not being enough. Number 4, Maserati. After years of building bold, exotic machines, Maserati is in deep trouble. In 2024, global sales fell off a cliff, dropping 57% from 26,600 vehicles to just 11,300. That's not a dip, that's a collapse. The Levante, Ghibli, and Quattroporte, once symbols of power and style, now sit forgotten in showrooms. Stellantis, Maserati's parent company, says it's not giving up. CEO Carlos Tavares blames bad marketing, not bad cars. But numbers don't lie. Buyers are walking away, and fast. The US market was supposed to be Maserati's gold mine. Instead, import tariffs hit hard. Every Maserati sold here is built in Italy. A 25% tax now inflates prices and kills deals. Against local brands and even BMW or Porsche, the Trident can't compete on cost. Maserati is trying to fix things. In North America, they're focusing on in-store experiences, VIP service, and customizing cars for rich clients. They want more tailor-made Maseratis and fewer forgotten models sitting on lots. But behind the scenes, it's worse than they admit. The EV rollout is delayed and the demand is weak. Some electric models were shelved entirely. Stellantis even brought in McKinsey & Company to determine what to do next. A sale, a merger, and even a shutdown. Yet nothing's off the table, and the pressure's growing. For buyers, this is dangerous ground. Today's showroom gem could be tomorrow's orphan. Parts may vanish, service support could shrink, trade-in values could crash. If Stellantis pulls the plug or sells the brand, you won't just lose luxury, you'll lose money. This isn't just a stumble, it's a full-blown identity crisis. Number 3, Canoo. Canoo once looked like the next big thing in electric vehicles. It had contracts lined up with NASA, a 4,500 van deal with Walmart, and plans to roll out futuristic delivery vans from its new Oklahoma factory. Investors were excited. Headlines were glowing. Then, it all fell apart. The company filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Operations stopped cold. Only $50,000 in assets were left, against over $160 million in debt. The Oklahoma plant was supposed to hire 1,400 people. Instead, workers were sent home without notice. A key loan from the U.S. government never came through. Foreign funding deals collapsed. Canoo ran out of time and cash. Then came the lawsuits. Former employees filed a WARN Act case, claiming they were laid off illegally. Another EV startup, Harbinger, accused Canoo of hiding assets it got from a different failed company, Arrival. Harbinger also claimed CEO Tony Aquila bought back those assets for $4 million, without proper bidding or fair market checks. Critics called it a fire sale done in the shadows. For buyers and investors, it's over. No warranties, no support, no value. Canoo's sleek electric vans are now stranded in limbo, unsellable and unsupported. It didn't just fail, it vanished. Now, can a luxury EV company survive when the money starts drying up? Find out in the next one. Number 2, Lucid Motors. Lucid promised elegance, range, and tech wrapped in one sleek electric sedan. The Air launched with bold claims, up to 516 miles on a single charge and performance to rival Tesla and Mercedes. But behind the shine, cracks were forming. The company lost $3.1 billion last year. Stock prices have plunged more than 95% since their high point. Investors are spooked. Big promises haven't turned into big profits. Production delays hit hard. The company couldn't get basic parts like carpet and windshield glass. Deadlines were missed and orders were delayed. Planned output had to be slashed again. Even the much-hyped Gravity SUV is now facing a cloud of doubt. In the middle of it all, CEO Peter Rawlinson stepped down. A key figure in the company's rise, he moved into a quieter role. An interim chief took over, tasked with guiding Lucid through the storm. But the problems didn't stop there. The Lucid Air has been recalled for high-voltage system faults that caused a sudden loss of power. 10 cases were confirmed by U.S. safety regulators. Customers also complained of buggy software, broken infotainment features, and a glitchy driver assist system called Dream Drive. Some buyers say their 6-figure luxury car felt unfinished. Then came the lawsuits. Investors accused the company's leadership of misleading them about production capabilities. One case claims internal forecasts were inflated to secure more funding. This funding that came, in part, from Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, which now owns most of the company. Without Saudi backing, Lucid likely wouldn't have survived this far. But heavy reliance on foreign capital raises its own questions. The dream of building a true American electric luxury car is fading fast. If things don't change soon, Lucid may go the way of the many EV startups that came before it. Fast, flashy, and forgotten. Last but not least, the Fisker. Fisker was supposed to be a redemption story. After a failed run in 2013, the brand returned with big dreams, a sharp design, and one ocean SUV car. But by June 2024, it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The comeback was over. At its peak, the Ocean looked promising. Production began in late 2022 through a deal with Magna Steyr in Austria. By 2023, deliveries started in the US. But soon after, things went south. Owners reported major issues like doors that wouldn't open, hoods flying off, and power loss mid-drive. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration opened multiple investigations. The problems weren't just minor, they were dangerous. Fisker paused production in early 2024. No more Oceans were built after March. By June, it started liquidating. Factories, tools, software, everything went up for sale. Money was tight. The company had $273 million in sales, but $1.3 billion in debt. A rescue deal with a major automaker collapsed in March 2024. Stock prices, already down more than 90% since their 2021 high, flatlined. The legal trouble followed fast. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission issued subpoenas. Shareholders filed lawsuits claiming fraud and mismanagement. The board was accused of hiding facts about failing production and misleading investors. And now, Ocean owners can't get service. Some can't even drive their cars. Fisker's story ends with the same crash it tried to avoid. The brand promised something bold, but weak quality, poor planning, and vanishing funds killed it again. That wraps up 13 car brands on the brink of extinction. If you found this helpful, like, share, and subscribe. While you're here, check out stupidly complex cars that will bankrupt you in repairs. Click the link below to watch.